Well, this was neat. That was a very neat walkthrough. And how long will these be up? How much do you want to rotate your work in and out?
The pieces are going to rotate mostly monthly.
Okay.
The plan is to have artists come in about once a month to have a new show.
And change everything out?
Yep, and then if they want to, have a mixed show with me, they can do that. If they want to have a group show with someone else they know, that works as well.
You couldn't be more centrally located within, right here on Broad Street,
right,
flanked by other galleries where I would check back on a monthly basis to see what we've changed.
Yep.
So I don't know if you're just changing up everything for every photo you take is it different cameras for all the work, or are you simply?
Nope, it's all the same camera. Majority different lenses. The lens really is dictated by the light at the time,
okay.
Or the subject matter, obviously. If I'm shooting something far away, or if I want to compress something, I'm going to use a longer lens. If I'm going for more of the landscape, that's obviously a wide angle. Now this is, a landscape scene, sunset, but obviously wanted to get in on that sliver of the sun that was still left.
That looks more ethereal. These photos look, again, I bet people want to know if it's shopped in some way, shape, or form, that you've altered it after the photo, but that's not anything you do. Yours are photos,
right?
First and foremost, you're not.
Yeah, there's none of the mixture afterwards in Photoshop or anything. That was a great sunset up on one of the mountains in New Hampshire. I'd never actually seen anything like that. The sun was actually setting into the clouds. So the next photo.
I was going to say, these all look fake. It looks like you took something from a mythological story and we're just doing the illustrations for it.
Right. And then afterwards, I'd never seen anything like this, where it just illuminated all the clouds after it came into it and just gave this amazing gradient all the way through.
And if you wouldn't know, that looks like you're looking at the water as opposed to knowing you're looking through the sun.
That was kind of the idea.
What you see is it could be either.
Right. I wanted to give people the illusion that they weren't really sure.
It's because it's the sea of the sun. You're very clever. I get this now. Should have read it first.
Figured it out.
Sorry.
No worries.
Well, I want to thank you again. It was nice. Thanks for taking the time. I know you've got an art walk coming up pretty darn soon, so
it's going to get
out of
busy
here. Yeah, I imagine it's a nice space, but it'll get tight.
Yes, it does. Shoulder to shoulder.
Lovely. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
I can remember you standing on the edge of the land.
So this is where everybody usually begins?
Yes,
if they're making a walk through the house?
Exactly. So I'll give you the tour now.
Yes.
You would start in the drawing room.
Okay.
So that's where we'll start.
I'm here in downtown Charleston, South Carolina at the Palmer House, and I'm lucky enough to be joined by Meredith Hutchins, who is the manager of the Palmer House, and she's brought me down here into the drawing room because, unbeknownst, there is something very exciting that happened right in this very room.
Yes. Our claim to fame is that the little David, predecessor to the submarine, was drawn up here.
Right,
and actually, exactly. We have a little model of it over here.
Please show me.
So the little David was a semi-submersible submarine predecessor, like I said, that was drawn up by Dr. Julian Ravenel, who was John Ravenel, the owner of the home's son. Dr. Julian Ravenel was a medical doctor, but he dabbled in invention, and during the Civil War,
he did, because you've got time when you're being a doctor. Why wouldn't you?
But yeah, so he designed this to help attack the Ironside, which was a northern ship that was blocking part of the Charleston harbor.
And as you told me before, so as we keep the Palmer House was the Ravenels' downtown sort of summer home?
Right. It was their, their business and social dealings home. They were here 6 months out of the year to do business and entertain.
Draw up schemes for inventions that have yet to be seen in the world? I gotcha.
So yes, here we have a model of the little David. It was named the little David in reference to the biblical little David and Goliath. So obviously this was much
purpose to be very small but deadly, apparently.
Exactly.
And it actually came into fruition. They built it and it saw the water.
They did. They built it at the Ravenel's plantation house in Monk's Corner. So, and it was in the water
and put to use as it was intended?
Played a part. It did attack the Ironside and actually did pretty good damage. So.
Oh, and as you told me, so this was the forerunner, the precursor to the modern day submarine, created right here in Charleston, South Carolina, drawn up in the drawing room of the Palmer House.
Correct.
Meredith, I want to thank you so much for letting us come down to the Palmer House and for introducing us to the drawing room and all of the amazing things that took place here all those years ago.
Yeah, thanks, Mariah. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Located at 5 East Battery across from the Charleston Harbor, the Palmer home, also known as the Pink Palace, is one of Charleston's most renowned homes. Opened to the public in 1977, it is also the private residence of third-generation owner Frances Palmer. She and her dedicated staff welcome guests year-round, sharing the home's story with all visitors.
Good in the Northcutt Plaza. Got Coleman Boulevard here. It's Houston Northcutt Boulevard there, right on the corner. This little frame shop that I thought was all it was is not at all. I got to meet the owner, whose name is Marty. He and his wife own the store, which is now at least 50-50, a process they call giclée that I was newly introduced to, and it's, you know, sort of been repossessed as a word for all of the works of art. But it's the process of taking your print, taking anything that you bring in, and they can stretch it over canvas, they can put it on nearly any material you want to see it on. And as I walk through, you can check out all of the prints. Some of them, you know, somebody just took for your photos, things that end up looking more and more like paintings. And all the way back around, they do graphic design as well. They come in, you can bring whatever project as far as you brought it in on a digital card or you decided to come in with one photo and they'll scan it for you. And top to bottom, this store is your best hope if you want to make something very personalized. While we were looking around, I've seen everybody from weddings to little kids to everything else they have in the store. So we'll take a see what they do. Marty and his wife Paula have been in this sort of business for at least 16 years. They're here for the last 3 and each has a graphic design and art sort of background and degree. And he was telling me that they've, you know, learned now into the framing process, but they're really known for a lot of these antique, they do antique maps, harbor charts, all of the wonderful things. Again, same process, they can either blow it up huge so you can put it on the wall. They've got a huge selection that you can go through and decide if you want to see some of the old school looks, and that seems to be very popular lately. And way over here, which I got a chance to check out, is their newest in-house sticky art. This is one of the newer things to the store that I couldn't be more interested in, which is by name sticky art, but I believe it's called photo text. And what the idea here is, not only is it not canvas, it is this material that you can peel up, you can do some damage to, and you can put it right back the same way you found it, back to your wall as if nothing ever damaged it in the first place. It's the same process that they use, which is that the giclée is what makes this happen. So whether you wanted to put this way, and it's, I guess why I walked over and wanted to touch it in the first place is, for all the walls that you don't want to put holes in and for all of the things that you need to move around as often as I do, I couldn't think of a better way to capture my images and put it to something like this. And Marty told me it's new, this process they just finally got in store, and they've had it for a couple months, and I imagine it will be blowing up because it's the coolest. And so when I did my last tour around, I had asked from piece to piece, they do tiles, and they can do little prints of whatever you have. And if I came back in and decided that I have my own particular piece that I don't need put on canvas, they have one of the best selections of frames and the capability to do it of anybody in the area. While I was in here, I was already pre-planning what I may or may not be getting everybody for Christmas. And I think of the photos that I have and I would gladly see stretched otherwise. If you have things that you know you own, they can do these sort of shadow boxes as well, which is bigger collections of. This one is obviously from a flag to some of your military gear that I think is the same way we've talked about when we've been here, that nothing is more personal, nothing makes a better gift, and nothing helps you hold on to some of these memories, like either taking your personal photos and turning them into the art that you show at the house. And then for me, once I've decided I've run out of other ideas, they have a wonderful selection of all of their prints, other people's photos, and like he said, they work very closely with all the artists in Charleston, so they have some really good-looking photography. If you yourself have decided you are not so capable, by all means, you can shop here and find somebody who's much, much better than you are.
Attention women, here's a store that's all about you because it's all about the shoe. The Shoe Fairy, the hottest location for stunning shoes, awaits you on your way to Sullivan's Island in Mount Pleasant, featuring fabulous footwear. Shoes for work, for play, for every day, and with a terrific selection of bags, jewelry, and the things that women wish for. Shop today at the Shoe Fairy in the Gateway to the Beach Center by the CVS at Ben Sawyer and Rifle Range Road. The Shoe Fairy.